Greetings. Today is December the 4th, and I actually started shooting this video series 2 months ago today. I cannot believe I'm still working on the sinkhole. But mentally, I've been working on it for 4 years. So in high school, my extemporaneous speaking coach, Coach Staten, he said that the key to an extemporaneous speech was 3 parts. You know, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell it to them, and then you tell them what you told them. We are just before the summary episode. I'm not doing that right now. But with all my notes throughout the making of this, that I said, oh, I need to do that. Oh, I need to do that. And I'd retranscribe them onto a different piece of paper and collect them all from multiple sources. And as I would cross things off, I would rewrite it again. And I'm literally down to a standard sheet of paper, and it's like half a page of notes. And that's all I've got left that I want to sum up and sort of say, okay, we said this, we said this, we said this, and then here's the payoff sort of thing. This is not that video. This is a couple of other extraneous things that I wanted to mention in addition. Number one, Trevor commented on the video where the thing fell on my head. He said, oh man, when the pine cone fell on your head. I said, I don't think it was a pine cone. The final video is actually zoomed in slightly. It's cropped. So I went back to the original file and watched it a frame at a time, and I think it's just a cluster of leaves. I don't actually have pine cones at this end of the yard, but at that end of the yard, way over there, the neighbor has pine trees that kind of overhang. And I found this the other day, and I thought, man, if that had hit me on top of the head, even wearing a hat, I probably would have been knocked unconscious on camera if that came from height. So yeah, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pine cones in a cluster right there. So, well, we'll call it 4.5 with that one. Here's something that is so tangential that it's an offshoot of an offshoot of an offshoot. But I just want to share with you the journey that it led me to, because my mind was blown by the end of it. So I have lots and lots of little 1/64th scale cars that I have collected in the past 6 years. And the key to them is I always check and see if it was a model that existed in 1984. If it says 85 or above, I don't buy it. But I've bought a ton of stuff, including a whole buttload of taxicabs. I probably have double this number of police cars, but that's just the yellow taxicabs. 2020, I was chatting with Lauren White, who I have not credited so far in this video, but he, like Richard Ridley, was one of those people that I was talking to about various topics, including the 1/18th scale police cars, etc. And an offshoot of that was we were discussing various makes and models of cars and police cars. And there's a ton of them, and I haven't included all that information in this video. But around that same time, Greenlight brought out a set of cars from the A-Team. A little light blue car, a little white car, and a taxi cab, all from specific 80s episodes. I didn't think anything of it until Lauren said, by the way, the episode of the A-Team that taxi cab is from, Ernie Hudson is in it. I'm like, well, I have to buy that one. So here, among all of my yellow taxi cabs, is this one Lone Star taxicab from the A-Team episode with Ernie Hudson. So I thought I might include that in the sinkhole topic. That's sort of interesting. And it was a conversation that grew out of, working on this diorama. I mean, it's funny. I never thought I'd be doing another Ghostbusters related video where I was talking about the A-Team or Mr. T, but here we are. Check the description down below and I'll give you a link to that other Mr. T Ghostbusters video. I was rather proud of that one. And at the end of it, I actually mentioned an upcoming project that I was working on. It was the diorama. The episode aired November 1983 and was entitled The Taxicab Wars.
Hey man, we didn't do nothing but lose. And that's the impression that we made.
In prep for the video, I looked up the episode of the A-Team. Had never watched it myself.
Are you sure he's okay? I mean, he doesn't seem quite normal.
That sock is telling the truth.
Lo and behold, the villain in that episode is an actor named Michael Ironside. Now, people my age, they go, Ham Tyler from V.
Okay. This guy wants a war. He's gonna get a war.
hours later, my brain goes, I just don't think Ernie Hudson and Michael Ironside have ever been in anything together. Oh my God! They were in Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone from 1983 that I only ever saw on cable, and I've never even seen it in 3D.
Yes!
They sure have come a long way from Monday Night Football.
Fool!
And it was produced by Ivan Reitman. Oh, I have to talk about that. Come to find out, as I'm checking the IMDb to make sure that I am remembering correctly that Reitman had something to do with that film. Also, Elmer Bernstein did the music for it. So as I'm scrolling, I see other names that I recognize, like Linda Frobos, who worked on the sculpt for Stay Puft and the Terror Dogs, and Bob Burns, Tracy the Gorilla, the very first Ghostbuster that I ever met in person. And way down at the bottom of the cast list, I discovered that Harold Ramis is an uncredited voice on an intercom in Space Hunter. I'm like, oh, cool. I don't think I ever knew that. I knew about him in heavy metal doing a voice, but wow, that's pretty cool.
I got a lot of messages for you, Wolf. We got a transmission from a guy on Omega 6. He's got 8 tons of beryllium scrap. He wants you to pick it up as soon as you can. And the police called from the 42 sector. You got 105 parking tickets. I think you should take care of that. And your ex-wife is looking for you. She hasn't gotten a check from you in 3 months. Oh, and the administrator of your housing unit says you're 2 months behind in your rent. You have 5 days to pay up or you're out in the street.
And then this is the part where it's the offshoot of the offshoot of the offshoot, because this might not interest anyone but me. But as you may know, I co-founded an improv comedy troupe here locally some 20 plus years ago and have been performing with those guys. I love the comedy form of improv. I love the collaborative, not just collaboration with your fellow troupe members, but the collaboration with the audience and the positive energy flow from the audience to the stage and back. There's something unique about that in my theatrical experiences, and I would prefer to do that above anything else, really. But the reason I got into improv was a friend of mine, Jake Barrow, had this idea that he wanted to try improv at the height of Whose Line's popularity. Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I had been watching Whose Line reruns, UK and US, for weeks on end when I found out from one of the guys I went to college with that Jake was doing this. And I immediately called up Jake and I'm like, I hear you're doing improv. And he was like, yeah. And I said, I want in. And he's like, well, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it with 5 men as opposed to 4 men. So the very first time I did improv, it was an experiment called Improv-A-Lot. And a year or so later, Wes Thompson, who had been in Improv-A-Lot, had the idea. He was in the JCs and they were trying to come up with a charity. And he goes, hey, improv. Yeah, you just get together on the night. You don't have to rent a script. You don't have to rehearse. You just do it on the night and all the money, all the proceeds go to the charity. So he calls me up and he says, hey, we're going to do some improv for this charity. I'm like, I'm in. We hang up. He calls me back and he goes, it's to benefit the local CP center. I have a son with cerebral palsy. I'm like, I'm doubly in. So we did the first version of what became the real troupe for that. So Improv-A-Lot sort of counts because you had 3 of the same people involved. Myself, Wes, Stefan, 4, Jake. Throughout our history, we've got at the 20-year anniversary show, we had 11 members of the troupe together. Of the Whose Line performers that I really, really thought were just, so magnetic and you couldn't take your eyes off of them and consistently delivered on the comedy, the one that I patterned myself after, come to find out, he's in Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Got any joint smoke on you? It's been a long, dry day. Any candy? Dillies, blow-up snappers? No? Okay, well, I'll just go someplace else.
You can ask the chemist.
Colin Mochry's first film role was Space Hunter. I was literally gobsmacked to discover that. And I thought, well, there's a lot of information on the IMDb that's not really reliable. I found an interview where somebody asked him about it.
That is actually my first role. I got upgraded from an extra I got a line where I get to capture Molly Ringwald and take her to Michael Ironside, who's the villain. And my line was, "You can ask the chemist." The director, and it was odd, it was a 3D movie being directed by a one-eyed director, came up and said, "Okay, I need someone who looks really scary." And I was like 20, I was very skinny. I did have a good costume on, and I think that was what sold it. It was a 3D space opera. It was supposed to rival Star Wars, and it didn't quite. Not really. I mean, I had a really solid storyline. 3 intergalactic models are kidnapped by a half-man, half-cyborg named Overdog, and then 2 bounty hunters try to find them. It seems like box office gold.
Yeah, one of my comedy, idols, somebody that I've tried to pattern my stage presence after, was actually in that same film as Ernie Hudson, as Harold Ramis, produced by Ivan Reitman. So yeah, it's just fun. It's a small, small world sometimes. Thank you for watching. It's just fun. It's a small, small world sometimes. Anyway, I just want to apologize if this video got a little bit too far off topic. I know I'll take tangents occasionally, but this one was a little extreme because, I mean, we started on Ernie Hudson and we wound up on Whose Line. If only there was some way I could circle it all back together and put a nice bow on it. Thank you for watching.